What's going on, guys? Welcome along to another video. I'm Matt over at DSR, and today we are doing the road test for the Aoocci BX. Now, if you want to see the full installation video, I'll leave it in the top right hand corner, but also in the description box below, so you can see how I fitted it to the GSA. But if you don't want to watch an installation video and you just kind of want to watch the review on this unit, let me quickly run through some key features about it before we then start talking. So to start us off then, this thing as an early bird price is going to come in at £315, and then if you don't get it on the early bird, it's going to be around £360–370, and now that is with the blind spot detection accessory included. If you don't want the BSD, it is a little bit cheaper. We've got two cameras, one front, one rear, both 1080p. We've got tyre pressure monitoring system caps that go onto obviously the tyres. We've got a GPS unit I've got down there. We've got a handlebar remote, 5.5-inch screen, and then a rear radar unit, obviously for the blind spot detection. Oh, it is bloody hot today. A minute ago it was 29 degrees. The unit is IP68, so fully waterproof, no need to worry about that. And I do have the quick release plate fitted. Now, Aoocci have sent me this unit to obviously test and review, but I'll still give you my honest opinion on the good, the bad and the ugly. Now, one of the bits I'm not 100% keen on is I really like the quick release plate. The problem is the power cable is still connected to the screen. So when you take off the screen from the plate, you then have to disconnect the cable. Now, a couple of things for me. One is just the speed. As in the time it takes me to disconnect and walk away from the bike. I don't want to be then having to undo wires. But more importantly, I've disconnected the wire, and now that's an open source for water to get in. Like, it's IP68 when everything's obviously done up, connected and sealed. You've just taken away that waterproof capability. So you'd have to make sure the cable was hanging down so that any water didn't get onto it. I think it would be fantastic if they could somehow put the power cable or the cable straight into the back of the mounting quick release plate. So then the unit, the screen just clicks on and off, and obviously it's powered via the base plate, and then all the information is passed through that. If you look up here, this is my TomTom 500 World Edition. Power cable goes into the unit then powers the TomTom when it's connected. Now, I appreciate this hasn't the TomTom doesn't have the cameras and the blind spot, yada yada, but that concept is what I'd love to see on this. The mounting for the screen, the GSA has got a strange handlebar, kind of, it tapers so it's thinner on the outside and it gets thicker to the center part. I've got this crossbar membrane along the front under the screen. All the different spaces for the mount don't go down low enough to mount onto that handlebar, or sorry, the handlebar onto that crossbar, which would be great because then I can have it up there nice and clear, bish bash bosh. So I can't put it up there, I've put it down here, and it just doesn't have the full kind of function maneuverability. It's quite difficult to put it onto the GSA handlebar. Now, the back of the screen is a ball joint. The ball joint is slightly smaller than the round mount ball joints. So my TomTom is on a round mount. I could have taken that off and then just put the screen straight up there, and again, bish bash bosh. But no, couldn't do that because it's slightly smaller. So I wish the ball was ever so slightly bigger, same size as the round mount system, so I could use that as a mounting system rather than worrying about their mounting system. Hopefully that makes sense. The remote, you got two different mounting options. You can put it onto the handlebar, or it's got like an L bracket, so you can put it under the mirrors or somewhere. It's handy, it does the job. It's got 3 different buttons, so you can do swap between Apple CarPlay, your Android Auto, depending on what you're using, the cameras, or then the main screen, and then you can take photos and swap between the cameras. Now, I've got the GPS unit mounted front left of the screen, exactly opposite to my Innov K7 GPS. And so far, every time today, I've been out pretty much all day, every time the GPS has not connected to the satellite. So I've got no speed and I've got no direction. So that's a disappointing thing. I don't know, I'm going to remove the bag. I mean, hopefully a little bag in front of it doesn't block the whole system from working. The screen itself has a max brightness of 1400 nits, and today has been a kind of overcast, bright day, and it's fantastic. I can see everything. Hopefully the DJI is doing it justice. If not, I'll overlay some clips from this. But the screen is vibrant, it's colourful, it does well coming in and out of the shadows to the bright. It's also got auto brightness for the daytime and then nighttime as well. Obviously, like Apple CarPlay will turn over to its night mode. But yeah, screen is a decent one. Say 5.5 inch. It's big enough that I can see everything, but it's not too big that it's kind of overpowering the bike. This is a big bike, there's a lot of stuff going on. But if you've got a smaller bike, some companies out there do like 7-inch screens. For me, that then looks a little bit stupid on a smaller bike that's kind of got more of a minimalist look and feel to it. Whereas I feel like this screen size is a decent size. There's quite a lot of border around the screen, so potentially they could make the screen bigger without making the unit itself bigger. So, you know, they could make it a 6-inch, but still the unit be actually quite sleek. Now remember, with both cameras being 1080p, we're not going to have the absolute best sharpness, but from what I can see on the screen, they look pretty good. Hopefully I can find some cars with number plates so we can test and see how well and easy it is to read the number plates. But the cameras have got like a 140-degree field of view, so you can see absolutely everything front and rear. Now the blind spot detection works really well. When it senses there's a car within your blind spot, it will illuminate either the left or the right hand side, or if a car is coming quite close quite fast, it will illuminate both sides at the same time. You can have it where the system bleeps and it kind of does you an audible warning. I've actually turned that off because I found it was bleeping quite a lot and I didn't need it to be activating all the time, as in the noise. But yeah, I've left the rest of it on. Now it says it can swap cameras, or like blind spot camera selection, something like that. I've had it on CarPlay, and obviously even when you're on CarPlay, the blind spot alerts come up on the screen, but it's never changed from Apple CarPlay to one of the cameras, as in the rear camera. So I can't really comment on the whole camera swapping part because I've not had it come up. If you don't want the screen on the rear camera, you can either use the buttons on the unit or the handlebar, and you can just rotate through. So now that's going to be the front camera. Push it again, and now we've got the tyre pressure. These are the tyre settings. When I first installed the kit, I did have both front and rear tyre pressure sensors working. And now earlier, I was riding along, and the rear sensor just turned off, just stopped working. So before I started the video, I took off the sensor, left it off for 10 seconds or so, unbound it from the system and put it back on, hoping it would find it, and it hasn't found it. You press the bind button and there's a box on the left hand side that comes up, and then you see some numbers, and that's the unit itself. You click that and then it binds it. Now, like I said, that hasn't come back up, so I will have to look and see how to kind of reset the tyre settings to allow it to bind it. I may have to reset the whole system, hopefully not. But at the minute, for reference, my GSA is saying 2.5 and the front sensor is saying 2.7. So a slight difference, I'd say close enough. And this is what I don't really understand, right? So this is the kind of like home screen. It's got the speed in the middle and it's exactly the same as what my bike is showing. How has it got that, but it's not got the speed when I'm on the cameras or the direction I'm traveling? Like that GPS, is that GPS, that's the speed? Or is that speed coming from something else? Is that coming from the phone? I don't know. Touch sensitivity, these gloves don't have any special touch contact points. It's not pinpoint accurate with the screen. Sometimes I'll have to change between using my thumb and my finger to get it to register. But yeah, that's not saying it's the unit's fault, it could just be the gloves. And so far, every time I've turned the unit off and then turn it back on. My phone's connected within probably 5 to 10 seconds of it coming on, and I use Senna. Senna talks to the phone, phone talks to the unit, like Apple CarPlay works, and obviously the voices come through. Right, let's jump off and have actually a look at the bike and the system. Right, I apologise for the sweaty mess, but when it's 20 odd, late 20 degrees, I don't care. So yeah, looking at the screen, it's got a button on one side of the mounting plate, and then you literally push that button and then the unit slides out. But this is what I mean by the cable still being attached. Frustrating. I feel like if they could get that down, that to me would really increase this unit's capability and flexibility within the market. Like we've got the quick release plate and it works really well. I just don't want to have to be taking off the cable every time. It's a little bit different in my opinion because the cable that comes out, the splitter for it is only about 7 inches from the screen, or from the screen connection point. So you've got a lot of cabling that you have to deal with at the front of the bike. So depending on what type of bike you got, you may find that easier to manage or not. Actually, for a big touring bike like this, there's a lot of storage at the rear, under the rear seat, not so much at the front. I've used my kind of fairing bags at the front just to shovel most of the cabling in, just to kind of square it away for the review. But yeah, if you were getting this and it was going to be on the bike all the time, you would definitely have to take some time doing some cable management, because there are a lot of cables. 2 cameras, brains, GPS, power, radar. So there's 6 main cables coming into that one junction point. One thing I did find a little strange as well is when installing the radar unit, all the other cables, all the other accessory points are long. Like we're talking over 6 foot, some of them. The radar cable, because that needs to go onto the battery, is about 2 foot long. Now for me, it wasn't a massive problem because I was connecting the accessory into my Thunderbolt unit under the seat, whereas the GSA battery is in front of the rider's seat under the tank. If I was installing it onto the battery, it would not have been long enough. So I would have had to extend the cable in just to get it to there. Aoocci do have an app, obviously, that connects to the unit, which is good. The SD card, which is nice to see, is installed on the bottom, the underside of the screen, so you can easily get to the SD card if you want to extract your footage that way. Because some other companies put them on the brains, which the brains is then under the rear seat and then actually a little bit harder to get to. So yeah, easy to get to, but you don't have to because they've got an app, and on the app you can download all the clips you want from the ride, and also you can do over-the-air updates. So if they do update the system, you can then just connect it to the app and then update it, and you haven't got to then take it into the computer to then do it, to then put it back. It's the little things that make your life a little bit easier like that, which makes this kind of that step up from their other models. So I've tested their C6 Pro, and this is definitely a good step up from that model. One thing I did find, so this has got a G sensor, so if you have a crash it will save the footage. If the bike thinks you've been in an accident, or the sensor senses kind of a quick change in speed, it will lock the file. For me, I had it in the low sensitivity, so you got high, medium and low, had it in low, and even just my normal riding, it kept locking the files. And the problem with that is, you can choose loop between 1 minute, 2 minute, 3 minute. I had it set to 1 minute. Instead of having 10 1-minute clips for a 10-minute ride, I might have a 20-second clip that will save into the normal saved folder. It then might lock it because of the speed, or the speed, the G sensor. So for 40 seconds, I might have a 40-second clip in the locked folder, and then that would stop and go back to normal, and then I might have 30 seconds of normal riding, and then so what I'm saying is the files would be getting split between 2 different folders. So I just wouldn't have a continuous 3-minute video of me riding. I'd have to have extract different videos. Hopefully that made sense. So what I've had to do is actually turn off the G sensor sensitivity. It will now just record the normal loop videos unless I press the button on the handlebars to save it, which I think is a shame, because in the day it's in low. Like, my normal riding shouldn't be setting that G sensor off in low sensitivity. And I actually found that on the C6 Pro as well. It was just too sensitive and it kept KC. As I said, kept locking, so I had to take it off. See, 10 seconds, we're back in play. Now let's go and try and find some cars so I can show you the blind spot warning. Now I've purposely taken off the little bag that sits above the GPS area. And I mean, you can see it, it's pretty flat, nothing now above it, and the GPS still hasn't connected. Let's face it, reality is if the GPS isn't working, I'm not bothered about it seeing my speed, because I've got it on the dash. I don't care in which direction I'm going. It may be useful if I was to put in a claim, but then I'd have the footage from the cameras anyway. That should be enough. So realistically, you know what, I'm not too worried that the GPS isn't connecting. And like I said, tire pressure sensors, I could just reset the system and then just rebind them that way, because it's not showing it. And that's cool. And there we go, see those big flashing lights? That's saying that the car was coming too close to dead center. That's why they were both illuminated at the same time. And that's what happens every time there is a vehicle in your blind spot, i.e. it'll be the left hand side or the right hand side, or both, if it's dead center. So the system isn't too sensitive, so that the car's going past on my right hand side is not activating the radar, which is nice, because I don't want to, no, I don't care about the cars going past me in the opposite lane being in my blind spot. So yeah, overall a nice added safety feature. Apparently this reduces rear collision up to like 24%, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, it's nice to have it on the BX. Well guys, I hope you found it useful. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you have, give it a thumbs up. More importantly, subscribe to the channel. Remember, if you do want to grab yourself one of these, I will leave a link in the description box below. And there's nothing else to say until the next one. Ride safe.